This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 8th day of July in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. In a unanimous decision this afternoon, the Caribbean Court of Justice, while asserting its jurisdiction to hear the appeal in the Guyana election declaration case, threw out the order of the Guyana Appeal Court and the Chief Election Officer's report that was submitted to the Elections Commission. The decision by the CCJ invalidates the Guyana Court of Appeal's decision and similarly invalidates the report that was submitted by the Chief Elections Officer to the Commission. The CCJ's decision is likely to result in the Chief Election Officer, Keith Lowenfield, preparing a new report for the Elections Commission Chair, in keeping with her first request. President of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Justice Ian Saunders, in delivering the final decision of the court, said the Court of Appeal in Guyana erred in its decision since there was no need for a refinement of the words contained in the Guyana Constitution.
Article 177 2B, in fact, required no refinement. That article, in plain and simple language, has always said what it meant and meant what it said. There was no need for an interpretation of that article or any other article of the Constitution.
Justice Saunders said by the unnecessary insertion of the word valid into the article of the Constitution, the Court of Appeal invited the Chief Election Officer to engage unilaterally in an unlawful exercise that trespassed on the exclusive jurisdiction of the Guyana High Court.
By the unnecessary insertion into Article 177 2B of the word valid, the Court of Appeal impliedly invited the CEO to engage unilaterally in a further and unlawful validation exercise that trespassed on the exclusive jurisdiction of the High Court established by Article 163. It was inconsistent with the constitutional framework for the CEO or GCOM to disenfranchise tens of thousands of electors in a seemingly non-transparent and arbitrary manner without the due processes established in Article 163 and the Validation Act. For all these reasons, the court adjudged that the provisions of Article 177.4 were not triggered by Ms. David's application to the Court of Appeal. Since the Court of Appeal had no jurisdiction to hear the application brought by her, the finality clause in Article 177.2b, in 177.4, was inoperable, and under the laws of Guyana, this court had jurisdiction to hear and determine the application by Messrs. Ali and Jagdeo and to set aside the decision of the Court of Appeal. This court was also entitled and required to declare invalid the report issued by the CEO, which was based on the decision of the Court of Appeal.
And the CCJ denied the granting of consequential orders, saying that by doing so it could possibly find itself in the same position that the Court of Appeal found itself when it made the order that has now been declared invalid.
Validity in this context means, and could only mean, those votes that on their face are valid. The determination of such validity is a transparent exercise that weeds out of the process, for example, spoiled or rejected ballots. This is an exercise conducted in the presence of the duly appointed candidates and counting agents of contesting parties. It is after such invalid votes are weeded out that the remaining valid votes count towards the determination of not only the members of the National Assembly, but incidentally as well, the various listed presidential candidates. If the integrity of a ballot or the manner in which a vote was procured is questioned beyond this transparent validation exercise, say because of some fundamental irregularity such as those alleged by Mr. Harmon, then that would be a matter that must be pursued through Article 163 after the elections have been concluded and the victors declared.
However, Justice Saunders said it is for the Guyana Elections Commission to ensure that the Chief Elections Officer submits a report in accordance with the directive given by the Chairman of the Elections Commission back in June. During his summing up of the evidence presented during the earlier hearing, Justice Saunders made reference to the complaints of anomalies uncovered during the vote recount, pointing out that the High Court of Guyana would have to address that issue in the form of an election petition after the final results would have been declared. More news coming up in just a moment.
Hello, boys and girls. As you prepare to write your exams, there are a few things you will have to do each day so that you and those around you can be safe and healthy. Please remember, on the day of your exam, you must wear a mask correctly, covering your mouth and nose before entering the school compound. Wash your hands with soap and water at the entrance of the school at the sink provided for 20 seconds. Paying attention to the palm and back of your hands, between your fingers and their tips. Dry your hands with a clean tissue and dispose in the closed bin nearby. Boys and girls, your temperature will be tested by an official. Then you will go to the designated waiting area with the floor signs and markings clearly visible, standing or sitting 2 meters or 6 feet apart at all times. It is now time to start your exam. The invigilator will direct you to the examination room. All the best. Boys and girls, playing and gathering are not allowed. Parents, the Ministry of Education thanks you for the support you have given the children during the time at home. However, in the interest of everyone's well-being, you will not be allowed to enter the school compound. Parents and guardians, we are counting on your support in picking up the children promptly after their exam. Remember, the Ministry of Education will provide transport for children who are living far away that require that assistance. Please be reminded that vending outside the school's compound is prohibited. Only authorized canteen vendors with a copy of their food handler certificate and wearing a mask, food gloves, apron, hairnet, and a hat will be allowed. Always remember to wear your mask correctly, wash your hands, and stay safe. And let's win the fight against COVID-19. A message from the Ministry of Education.
We all want to stay in touch, right? Now, even more than ever before. So to keep your connection strong, GTT is going 2 for 2. Combine GTT mobile and home internet services and we'll give you 2 gigs of free mobile data each month. With 2 GTT services, you're fully connected at home and on the go. Visit us online at gtt.co.gy/2for2 to learn more and start doing more with 2 for 2 from GTT. Stay safe, stay strong, Guyana. We're in this together.
GBTI is your Guyanese bank, a bank that understands every customer's unique needs, opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. At GBTI, we see you for you. Whether you're buying a new home or car, planning your next vacation or retirement, saving for your child's future, or whether you're ready to take that bold step of investing in your dream business idea, we are with you every step of the way. We hear your stories and watch you focus on your dreams as we share your aspirations. We are more than just banking. We are a family. We are part of your community. Our commitment extends way beyond the walls of our branches and is demonstrated every day in the opportunities we provide to our individual and business customers. The support, time, and commitment we give back to communities across Guyana to help improve the lives of our Guyanese families. Because we see Guyana through your eyes.
The following is an important message from the Ministry of Public Health. You can prevent the spread of the COVID-19 virus. If you have the following symptoms: coughing, fever, or difficulty breathing, please stay home. If you don't have these symptoms, then practice social distancing. Avoid crowds. When in a group, keep a distance of at least 3 feet between yourself and other persons. Please wash your hands with soap regularly or use hand sanitizers. The Ministry of Public Health has a hotline to provide information on the coronavirus. Members of the public can call 227-4986 or 624-3067.
Welcome back. In an impromptu meeting outside State House this afternoon with a group of supporters who gathered demanding that he be sworn in as president, the incumbent president, David Granger, admitted that the ruling handed down by the Caribbean Court of Justice is not what he wanted to hear.
TCJ has not allowed the position that our Court of Appeal has taken, but it means that the matter will now have to go back to the Election Commission. So the matter is not closed, it now has to go back to the Election Commission. So we still have to be patient. I know it's been a long wait.
Oh, yes,
We all went out on the 2nd of March. March passed, April passed, May passed, June passed, and now July. It's the first time this has happened in the history of our country. And it's happened because there's some bad elements out there who try to manipulate the vote.
The president said he knows it has been a long wait for the election's results, but he would like his supporters to remain calm and patient as the Elections Commission will have to complete its work. He has repeatedly said he will abide by the final declaration of the chairman of the Elections Commission. In a unanimous decision this afternoon, the CCJ threw out the Guyana Court of Appeal decision on the valid votes matter, and also threw out the final report of the Chief Elections Officer, which was made as a result of the appeal court's decision. President Granger said the CCJ has made its ruling, and there is nothing that could be done about that ruling. However, he noted that the CCJ did not make any coercive orders.
As of today, 3 o'clock, the Caribbean Court of Justice has made a ruling, and we cannot do anything but the ruling, but they have made no coercive orders. That means they have not given any instruction to what GCOM is empowered under the laws of Guyana to do. So we will have to assess the situation that we're in now. The matter will go back to the Election Commission. But as far as we are concerned, we have evidence that there has been massive fraud and irregularities. And we will continue to fight to make sure that your votes are counted.
According to the president, the APNU AFC will be assessing the situation and the ruling and will allow the commission to do its work, taking into account that there is still evidence of massive fraud that he said occurred on elections day and that was unearthed during the recount of votes. The Caribbean Court of Justice has pointed to those matters being dealt with in an elections petition, but has made it clear that the Elections Commission will have to do its work. On the other side, the General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Barra Jagdeo, this evening welcomed the ruling by the Caribbean Court of Justice, invalidating the Court of Appeal's decision and the final election report of the Chief Elections Officer. In a statement, Mr. Jagdeo described the CCJ's ruling as strong and clear and said citizens should listen to the entire ruling and understand the decision of the court.
We believed from the beginning that decision of the Court of Appeal was perverse. We argued that they lacked jurisdiction, that the article of the Constitution that they used to determine, to infringe on other matters related to the elections had nothing to do with the qualification of the president, and therefore they were acting outside of the jurisdiction.
The PPP General Secretary said the report that was submitted by the Chief Election Officer was illegal, adding that his party's position has now been vindicated by the decision of the Caribbean Court of Justice.
So let us see now, since Lowenfield said he got guidance from the Court of Appeal, now he has superior guidance from the Caribbean Court of Justice that he must prepare a report in accordance with the instructions given to him by the chair, and that he has no authority to invalidate any vote, that authority rests with or can only be exercised through an elections petition after the results have been declared, and therefore all of the allegations made by Joseph Harmon and everyone else can be dealt with at that stage through an elections petition. So the CEO has clear guidance now. Let us see if he will continue to act unlawfully or in accordance with the guidance of the Caribbean Court of Justice, a superior court.
Mr. Jagdeo said that now that the Caribbean Court of Justice has made clear its decision, Lowenfield must act on the guidance of that superior court, and he remains confident that the PPP will emerge as the winner of the elections. Some tragic news to tell you about right now. One man was killed and several of his co-workers were badly injured this afternoon when a section of the building that they were dismantling collapsed at industrial site. They were all attached to a contracting company that was dismantling the building for Banks DIH Limited. The fire service and other emergency services rushed across to the scene, and the injured workers were taken to the hospital. The severity of their injuries is not known. In a statement, Banks DIH Limited explained that the accident occurred as the building was being torn down by the contracting company Home Designs to facilitate the execution of the works by Banks DIH. Banks DIH said the injured workers were all attached to the contracting company, but it is working to ensure that they all get the best possible emergency care needed. The company also said it is working with the authorities to ascertain the cause of the accident. On the police blotter right now, the suspect in the shooting death of the Sophia horse cart owner died this afternoon after he was involved in a shooting with the police as they attempted to arrest him. The man, Kieran Adams, who went on the run yesterday after he shot and killed horse cart owner Andre Easton, was cornered in Mukka moments after a wanted bulletin was issued for him today. According to reports, upon seeing the police officers, Adams opened fire on the lawmen and they returned fire. He was injured and taken to the Georgetown Hospital where he later died. Adams went on the run yesterday after he shot and killed Sophia horse cart owner Andre Easton during an argument over the grazing of Easton's horse. He did not want the horse being grazed close to his house. As the two got into an argument yesterday, eyewitnesses said the suspect appeared with a firearm and shot the horse cart owner dead. He escaped from the Sophia area before the police arrived. The horse cart owner was pronounced dead at the scene. Last evening, angry residents of Sophia set fire to the home of the suspect as he remained on the run. His house was completely gutted. On tonight's Health Watch, the Public Health Ministry has described the current COVID-19 situation as alarming as the country continues to see the numbers of positive cases climbing steadily. Up to news time, today's figures were not released, but in a statement, the Deputy Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Karen Gordon-Boyle, said the situation over the past week should be of concern to everyone.
The situation in our country is becoming increasingly alarming, especially over this past week. We have recorded the highest number of cases since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic in our country. Fellow Guyanese, Guyana, compared to other countries, has a very high COVID-19 death rate. Currently, 6% of all infected cases have died. For a country with less than 1 million inhabitants, this rate is very high.
A frustrated Dr. Gordon-Boyle said citizens are still being asked to act responsibly if the numbers are to decline and the country can see a flattening of the COVID-19 curve.
Friends, if the number of positive cases and deaths are not evidence enough of the presence and effects of COVID-19, then we are in a very terrible position in our response to this disease. I must make it clear that the measures instituted by the Ministry of Public Health are consistent with the management of highly contagious diseases. The health system is already overburdened with responding to this current situation, and if this becomes worse, then we will not be able to manage, and what is happening in next door Brazil will become our reality.
In Guyana, those most affected by the coronavirus are persons between the ages of 20 and 29. Dr. Boyle said their behavior and continuous disregard for health guidelines are responsible for the high numbers in that age bracket. She said there is a need for responsibility by everyone to bring the numbers down. Across the region is coming up next.
They've made a positive impact on the heavy-duty transportation industry in Guyana since they've arrived. Guyanese are amazed at their power, durability, efficiency, and superior handling capabilities. These are brand new trucks, manufactured in partnership with German, Italian, and French companies. They have a powerful reputation for operating under very adverse Guyanese conditions and come with full after-sales service and spare parts. They're the most sought-after trucks today, with over 500 units in Guyana, and they're available in over 100 countries, including South America and the Caribbean. Be smart. Buy brand new ST Howo trucks today. Call 608-4998 and arrange for an inspection at ST Truck Guyana Incorporated, Block B, Public Road, Covenant, East Bank, Demerara.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Are you washing your hands correctly? Here are some tips on when and how to wash your hands. Step 1. Wet your hands with clean water. Step 2. Then apply soap. Step 3. For 10 to 15 seconds, lather your palms together. Always remember to pay attention to your fingers, especially your nails and tips. And don't forget the back and between your fingers. Step 4. Rinse hands with clean water for about 20 seconds. Step 5. Dry hands with a clean paper towel or tissue.
But when should you wash your hands? After using the toilet, before and after eating, preparing or handling uncooked food, after playing with pets or caring for animals, after sneezing and coughing or blowing your nose, before and after changing babies or caring for others.
Frequent hand washing or using a hand sanitizer with alcohol as an alternative will remove viruses and bacteria from your hands.
A message from the Ministry of Public Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
Across the region right now, the police commissioner in Trinidad and Tobago, Gary Griffith, has indicated that he has no intention of pushing any of his men onto the bus, even as the Independent Police Complaints Authority has formally advised him to place on immediate suspension the police officers who were involved in the fatal killings of 3 civilians late last month. At a news conference, the police commissioner said the Police Complaints Authority had not provided to him any reason for its recommendation, which he also described as curious. The Police Complaints Authority and the Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago have called for the suspension of the police officers implicated in the deaths of the 3 men, Joel Jacobs, Israel Moses Clinton, and Noel Diamond. They were gunned down in Morvant on the 27th of June. The police and the Police Complaints Authority are conducting separate investigations into the matter. The killings led to street protests by residents of the area who claimed that the men had their hands up in the air in surrender when they were shot dead by the police. Let's tell you now that Antigua-based workers with the cash-strapped regional airline Liat have until this Friday to agree to proposals by the government as it moves to prevent the liquidation of the company by its major shareholder governments. Prime Minister Gaston Brown, who is opposed to liquidating the airline, held talks on Tuesday with representatives of the Antigua and Barbuda Workers Union. But the union's General Secretary David Messiah would not divulge the details of the deliberations. Brown is seeking support for his idea for the formation of a new company, Liat 2020, should the governments of Barbados, Dominica, and St. Vincent go ahead with their plans to liquidate Liat 1974, which owes millions of dollars to its creditors. Liat employs hundreds of workers in Antigua, and Messiah said the union also met with the workers behind closed doors on Tuesday. He told a state-owned radio station that he would not wish to divulge the details of the discussions, since the airline's operations are diverse and involve various departments across the region. And finally tonight, international news. More than 3 million people in the U.S. have tested positive for the coronavirus, according to Johns Hopkins University. Over 131,000 deaths have been reported, and on Tuesday the U.S. broke its record for most new cases reported in one day. Despite the rise, the White House wants to press forward on some reopenings. U.S. Vice President Mike Pence, who leads the White House Coronavirus Task Force, argued that rules should not be too tough. Cases were flattening out, he said, while President Donald Trump said on Tuesday that America was in a good place regarding the pandemic. Over 60,000 new cases were reported on Tuesday in the U.S. The latest figures comes as the states of California and Texas each reported more than 10,000 new daily cases. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.